the wide-open waters of San Francisco Bay become shallow at its southern edge, where rich marshlands once thrived. Embarking from the Alviso Slough boat ramp on summer afternoons at high tide, Santa Clara County Parks conducts sightseeing tours of this little-known waterway and educates the public about current challenges.
We add carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, which traps heat, warms and expands ocean water, causing sea levels to rise in San Francisco Bay. And that's important because the community of Alviso sits 13 feet below sea level. Visible from our parking lot for the next several years will be the construction that you see called the South Bay Shoreline project. And they are constructing a levee from Alviso Marina to Coyote Creek. The purpose of the levee is to protect from coastal flooding and sea level rise.
Construction of the new levee is overseen by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Obviously, the South San Francisco Bay shoreline is very vulnerable to future sea level rise. In the larger Shoreline Phase 1 project, we are looking to build 4 miles of levee, so those will continue to the east behind me. Working in this general vicinity poses a lot of complicated issues that our contractor is working through. The current operations have built temporary cofferdams around the site to displace the water so we can over-excavate where the levee foundation is going to go.
The first phase will enclose a long gap between existing certified levees.
The Guadalupe River and Coyote Creek, those are already 100-year certified levees. And so by construction of the Shoreline Phase 1 project, we'll be able to connect that and meet that to provide for the coastal storm risk management.
The flood risk management includes constructing engineered levees to 15.2 feet high. Benefiting is definitely the Santa Clara San Jose Regional Wastewater Facility. Also the community of Alviso, a community that where much of the land has subsided and is below sea level, has a history of devastating flooding in the area. There's an existing risk, and that risk is just going to get worse as we move into the future due to sea level rise. The current estimated project cost is around $545 million, and of that, the local sponsors are responsible for around $400 million of that. And so our local partners on this project are the California Coastal Conservancy, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Refuge, and the Santa Clara Valley Water District.
One longtime Valley Water Board member is also a native of Alviso, with deep roots in the community.
I'm an activist in Alviso all my life. I'm so supportive of the shoreline, and I'm so proud of the Santa Clara Valley Water District and its employees and our board of directors who all voted support it. It's been a tough road. Government has never been kind to Alviso because all water flows here. And we're the ones that took all the damage and all the heartache. That's what disadvantaged communities go through because no one represents us to tell us the truth. My dad was the first one born here in 1916. Then when the cannery was operated here in Alviso called a Bayside Canning Company, and that's where everybody worked at the time. It's a great place to be brought up, because we had all this environmental opportunities and recreation. We learned to swim by, they just throw you in, and that's the way it was. It was like a Huckleberry Finn. Everybody here was a disadvantaged community. We didn't know it until you go other places. So anyway, we have a history of flooding. I've lost everything I own in our family, 56, 58, 83. In Alviso, it was up to 8 foot, destroyed this whole community. It was gone. That's why today you have to build 13 feet high with the FEMA requirements. But the Shoreline project, this is the biggest project, as far as I understand, west of the Everglades. It'll protect this community, but they didn't do it for Alviso. They did it for the commuters, the business people, and Levi Stadium, the homes, hospitals, schools, and Silicon Valley, which is worth billions. So it's a very, very important project, and it raises the levees up, and it makes them engineered, which makes them more reliable and more safe. It's a blessing to have it.
In addition, it's a unique levee in that it's not just steeply sloped on both sides. The north-facing side is gradually sloped. They will plant native plants on it to enhance the wildlife habitat for the endangered species that live here.
As native plants take root, habitat for the endangered ridgeways rail and salt marsh harvest mouse will become plentiful again.
We're going to be restoring around 2,800 acres of former salt ponds, implementing an ecotone into the design. A sloped levee going out to the bay provides transitional habitat. And then also, as sea level rises over the longer term, it'll allow for that marsh habitat to migrate up that slope. And so it provides an immediate benefit for the ecosystem as well as a longer term benefit that'll be more resilient for sea level rise.
There's 5 reaches in Shoreline Phase 1, and 1 through 3 is currently in construction and will be continuing through January 2024. And the remainder reaches 4 through 5 are currently in design. And Shoreline Phase 2 is currently in the city of Palo Alto and will take about 5 years for completion for the feasibility study. And then a future Phase 3 is in the city of Sunnyvale.
It's going to take 15 years to have the flood risk management and the ecosystem restoration completed, as well as another 10 years beyond that for making sure that the habitat's forming in the way it needs to.
You'll be able to go out, walk along the levee, and enjoy the new restored marsh habitat and the wetlands. I was at a public meeting, and one of the residents had mentioned, thank you for working on this project. And by seeing this project come through, we won't have to worry about floods. And just hearing that is why I do this job.